Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. As you know, today is Tuesday. Two quick programming announcements. One is for those of you who are in the teaching field, and for those of you who are in the coaching field, which is very similar to the teaching field, it is Teacher Appreciation Week. So there we go. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Two, my second programming announcement is if my cell phone somehow gets wonky, that's because it's heavily raining out in Aspen, Colorado right now as we record this podcast, and I'm hearing thunder outside my window. So if my cell phone gets wonky, don't worry. I have unplugged everything. Yeah, I've unplugged my cell phone charger, and I won't plan to plug it back in until the rainstorm is over. So, as I say I have my co-host, Mel Martin, with me today, and what we're going to be talking about is going back to college, believe it or not, at older ages. And as you guys know, I'm going back to college. So without further ado, I'm going to let Mel kick it off and see what we can come up with.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. How are you? Now, this topic is, somewhat near and dear to my heart because I was one of those older college students. I had a bit of a challenging grade school and high school education where I flunked third and I dropped out of 10th. And I think somewhere during my 10th grade year where I dropped out, I realized that that was not a good educational career move, and I went back. So it took me 5 years to graduate high school. I wasn't a very studious student, hard to focus. And then after that, I started my fitness career, coaching career. And then 7 years later, I decided to go back to school as an older student. That's some people take 15, 20 years later. But 7 years later, I was ready. That's the point. I was ready to become a studious person, and I was obsessed with getting the best grades and the best education I could, and I did. So anyway, like we had touched on earlier, when being an older student, I think a lot of it is the readiness, the portion of your life where you think you're ready to do it, and you're a little bit more mature, so your focus is going to be there too. What do you think?
I definitely agree. I think even though college students want to go straight out of high school, I think, well, of course, I'm an older high school student. I actually, due to my physical disability, I was supposed to graduate in 2005. And high school, and then I graduated in 2006. So I was actually 18 and a half when I graduated high school. Due to my physical disability, I repeated 1 year of elementary school, which happened to be preschool. And so I'm actually the older high school student too. And people say to me all the time that I'm wise beyond my years. I don't know if that has anything to do with me being the older high school student, but I'm certainly the older college student now. I mean, when I took my original degree, which is in education, I took a gap year to recover from major back surgery, and I got the job from a friend of mine. Turns out that job did not work. That job did not work. It left me emotionally abused twice in the workplace, and so then I decided, okay, I'm sticking with education, which I shouldn't have done. I should have left it in 2009. and when I lost my job. But now in my study, honestly, you guys, I don't know if my midlife crisis is coming early or not. But I think my midlife crisis is coming early. It doesn't involve a red pen or anything, but you never know. The moment I say that, Mel would probably hand me a red pen or something, and one of my fans will, and so they go, here's your midlife crisis color, red. And so I believe that the midlife crisis is supposed to come at 45 and not 30 years old. But now I'm going back to what my true calling is and what my passion is. And as Mel and I said before, if you're not passionate, we're sorry, but we can't help you. Stop, turn around, take the headphones out of the ears, and we can't help you because we're passionate. As Mel and I spoke about earlier, like before we recorded this call, I said, Mel, I need you to rub some of your coaching juices on me to get me passionate about journalism again. Maybe it's because I'm a rusty old educator. Maybe it's because I'm a rusty old educator that's done this for 11 years and still doesn't have an associate's degree. So I'm hoping that this journalism degree will just enhance this podcast. Thank you very much. It's enhancing a skill that I already know inside and out. I can public speak practically in my sleep. And so it's enhancing a skill that I know inside and out. I just don't know how to write well enough to get my words across. I know how to speak them, but I don't know how to write them without help from Siri and help from my editor. My poor editors in the past, they've had the code Siri like this, tomorrow, and then like, what are you trying to say? So yes, I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go to journalism school. Turns out fashion journalism school. And so I think now getting a degree, associate degree, and possibly a bachelor's degree in my 30s is the best thing I can ever do.
As I listen to you say all that, I can't help but think you're just bolstering another method of communication, right? So let's say, heaven forbid, that you lost your voice and you love speaking and you say, I can speak, in my sleep. Let's say you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have your voice. Well, guess what? Now you're going to have this new skill set of being able to write, and the love and passion and inspiration and everything that turns you on about fashion journalism is going to come through the written word, So, obviously, heaven forbid, that's not going to happen, right? You're not going to lose your voice. But now you're even a stronger asset. You have more weapons in your artillery, and that you're going to be able to express how you feel and what you believe is going to help the disabled community. Because, as you and I touched on earlier, when you were asking me, how do I find the inspiration? Well, it's really quite simple. Being the bridge between an industry and a market, an industry and an audience, is a huge responsibility. It really is, because people can hang on to every word you say, but if you do it with a lot of love and genuineness and sincerity and just honesty, never mind the fact that you may misinform people, which is, I don't have a problem with giving the wrong information. You're only as good as the information you receive. You also have the opportunity to correct yourself, which is fun, which is even better, right? Because not everybody knows anything about everything or everything about anything. So nonetheless, as you're going back to school as an older student, I just think you're gonna be more open-minded, open-hearted. You're going to be more receptive to the information. And if learning is remembering, then being Socratic and Platonic about it, as it all comes together with what you already know and what you're about to learn, that's just going to be a powerful combination. I really think you're going to add a lot of value to the disabled community and audience by doing this. I mean, if you have a love for fashion and if you have a love for speaking, you're going to parlay that into a new skill of writing, and you're going to love the ability to write as well. I have no doubt about it.
Well, thank you for saying it. But also, I have in my back pocket, I have this podcast, which, yes, I'm going to keep going, and yes, Mel's going to help me, and yes, all of you are going to help me. My audience keeps me motivated. That being said, I was interviewing an author who's a lawyer whose son has a cleft palate. The next thing I know, I go and check my stats in my Libsyn account. Take one guess, Mel, how many downloads we got on that one episode.
Oh, geez, I'm horrible at guessing. But I'll imagine that it was hopefully good. Was it a good figure?
Well, it was an amazing figure, and I'm telling you guys right now, I don't know how I did that, but when I looked at who actually did that, I'm like, wow, 2,001 downloads.
What? Okay, wait. Which topic was it?
2,001 downloads.
Which topic was it? Which podcast was it?
On Butterflies of Wisdom.
Okay. Wow.
And I guess I asked the right questions, and people loved it. So that really validated my work. I'm like, when I went to check my stats Monday morning, I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, well, Mel's laughing at me because he knows I use that language. But I'm like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, when I went to go check it this morning, I'm like, okay, I did a deep dive and did a deeper dive. I'm like, whose episode got so many downloads on May 7th, which was over the weekend? So I guess people were listening. And so, yes, people hang on by everyone. And so when that being said, when I approach these up and coming fashion designers, and when I approach the big time fashion designers, Bill Arente and Vera Lang, I'm going to say, look, when I reach out to them, I'll probably get an email back saying reach out to my assistant. But one of the things that I'm going to make them do is listen to the podcast, because all I'm doing with this fashion journalism degree is making my podcast bigger and better and opening more doors for not only myself, but for the disabled.
Yeah, there is value in measurable progress and data, right? I mean, the funny thing is, I've done close to 300 Facebook Live posts and videos and recorded videos. And I always say, do it for the one. When you're going to put out content, don't worry about impressing the masses. And as stunned as you were to get the 2,100, there are times when I'll put out something and I'll go, oh, this just feels great. It's just awesome. And I'll barely get 100 likes or comments. And then I'll put something out that, it's a good topic, and, it's on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being really low, 10 being really high. I'd grade it about a 7, which is acceptable. I think, okay, I'll throw it out there. Even a 6. And all of a sudden, it'll just blow up, and you'll get 1,000 views or 2,000 views. You just never know when. You just never know who you're going to impact. You just never know who you're going to resonate with. So always do it for the one. I think we do a pretty darn good job at what we're doing here. And
Yes,
as,
we
as
do.
I mentioned to you earlier, but then again, when we're done with that, right? There's nothing more you can do with it. I don't sit back on that and go, oh, that was great. It's my intention and the actions that I take behind that intention to do a better job every time. And I believe you do too, right? I mean, I came on board with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I love speaking. Why not? Let's do this podcast along with, wisdom of fashion, right? I thought, well, and did I hesitate, Lynn, when you asked me if I could help you? Did I hesitate 1 nanosecond? No, not at all. I jumped on board. And you were like, really? You want to help me? Well, sure. Why not? It's new. My intuition tells me it's good. It's going to benefit somebody. And there's credibility there because you're involved. Sure. Why not? Let's give it a shot. And it's gone well, so far. There's going to be times when we're not going to do well. That's inevitable in anything. And there's going to be more times when we are going to do well. But nonetheless, our intentions match our actions, and we're always going to do our best. And that's what I do every time we do these things. Am I surprised that we got 2,100, likes or whatnot, downloads? In some ways, I'm not, because that was probably a very impactful episode that really resonated, obviously, with the larger crowd, right? There were 2,100 people that said, this mattered to me, right? I loved hearing this. And not only that, they get to hear it again and again and again at their leisure, right? So that should motivate you and give you the passion to keep doing.
Now here's a tip for you guys. Make your content evergreen. Thank you very much. Melon alluded to that. Pressing the play button again and again and again. Make your content evergreen. Don't make it topical in a sense, but make it evergreen. And make it not only touch the disabled, but make it touch the able-bodied world as well.
Right. Absolutely. People are going to listen to it whether they're in a disabled audience or not. And like I said, do it for the one. There's going to be someone who is literally and figuratively sitting in a dark place and time in their life, whether it's in their cubicle or at home or in their car, where people think, God, no one understands me or whatever. And if you are adding value every day and you're giving your best in whatever topic, someone's ears are going to perk up and go, hey, wait a minute. That resonates with me. I can relate to that. It could be the first one you do. It could be the 10th. It could be the 100th one you do. It doesn't matter. The key is being consistent, and the key is being devoted to that consistency. That's what it is. You've got to find and enjoy the beauty of the discipline. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so funny you say that you got to find the beauty in the discipline. And I switched colleges when they put me on medical leave. Unfortunately, they had me leave completely, and Concordia had me leave completely. I wanted to stay and complete my degree, and they said, well, I remember the college academic advisor saying to me over the phone, why don't you, and I'm not kidding, she said this matter of fact, like, why don't you go look down the street at your college? And I'm like, I said, well, maybe I will. And then that just put more of a fire underneath me to go get this journalism degree. So, when I filled out all my exit paperwork and paid back my school loan originally, which they had me on, I typed in online journalism and the Academy of Arts came up, and then I said, okay, this is a sign because I get to go visit people on the West Coast, I email, that really, really support me. And surprisingly, I have people all around the world that support me, including my own family and friends. But I'm like, this is a sign that I need to do it for the disabled. I asked my previous college, Concordia University, Irvine, in Northern California, do you have a writing degree? And I asked them this several times, and they go, no, no, no. And finally they said no. And it's like they hesitated because they're not used to students that know what they want. And so that being said, the older college student knows what they want. And you can hear the hesitation in the academic advisor's voice. She goes, no, we don't have a writing degree. We told you that. And then she goes, no, still no. And the answer was never yes. And so I think these academic advisors are so used to my academic advisors now are not used to these wishy-washy young college students, but I think these academic advisors in colleges all across the country, Ivy Leagues included, Harvard included, I don't think they're necessarily used to the older college student. I mean, my college down the street has a really good nursing program, but when it comes to their rest of their programs, they don't know what's going on. And able-bodied people have told me that too. So when my academic advisor at my previous college said go to the college down the street, it's going to be easier for you, I'm like, no, I'm just going to find a different way to go to college and take more time off and then start again in the fall.
Right. You know, again, like you said, older students do know what they want. And there's several reasons why older students go back to school, right? It's either career pathing, getting a higher education so that it'll enhance what their professional skill set is already. But I do really applaud any individual who's an older student that decides they're going to completely do a 180 and learn a whole new degree and change their careers. I mean, that is just an amazing discipline in itself, and the power of the decision behind that could be out of necessity, but more so, hopefully it is out of just following their heart, just like you, following their dreams and understanding that you've got one shot in this world. And I did a post earlier, whether you have one shot, whether you think you have one shot at it or several, depending what your personal philosophy is, whatever you do, take all of them, right? I mean, the only sad shot is the one you didn't take, So
Yeah.
for you to do this I applaud that. I applaud anybody that decides to do something new in their life. Learn something new. And when you're going to go back to get a higher education to learn something new, I don't know of any higher devoted decision than that. You could sign up for classes here and there to go do and learn something new, whatever short term, right? And it'll be fun, like a hobby. But to go after a higher education degree, the devotion behind it, the time, the study time, the research, the accountability, the deadlines, the papers you got to write, all that, wow. And that is, I can't help but just applaud that. Anybody that can do that. At least that's how I feel.
Yes. And for my academic advisor now is, I think she's my age. We didn't get into ages, but she's so used to these young college students that wait until the last minute. Nope. As soon as I had my loan paid back, I was gathering paperwork for this new college, the Academy of Arts, and my academic advisor goes, wow, I don't have students that are so on top of it as a youth. And so I think that really accounts to the older college students. that once you know what you want and once you know what you want to major in, you go for it.
Yeah. No, it's right. You got to go for it, right? With everything you've got. I mean,
yeah.
When you're young, I mean, I don't know. I've got a couple of teenage boys now, and my older son is he's going to be a senior next year, and somehow, some way, he's locked it up in his mind that he wants to be a pharmacist, right? So now it's just picking schools. I don't even know how a young person can lock something down that well. I remember back when I was in, that, like I said, I wasn't the most focused student back then, but it's just amazing to me how young people at 17 or 18 can say, I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to be a psychiatrist, or I'm going to be an engineer. Well, how does one do that at that young age? Well, there's probably some parental influence or some models that they're following, people that, role models that they're going after, or it's financially driven. They're thinking, God, if I become a dentist, I can make this money, or if I become an engineer, I could do that, right? That's usually the typical reason, or unless they study to be, a liberal arts degree. Okay, want to be a teacher, or presumably so, right? Or archaeology. All right, well, do you plan on, digging up some fossils? Okay, great. But nonetheless, most of your high-level professions, what makes a young person want to do that? Something inspires them. Now, you fast forward to an older person, it's a little bit different, right? If they're in middle management or in senior leadership of a company, and they want to enhance their skill set, great. They have to just kind of pinpoint what their weaknesses are and work on a focus, right? If they already have a degree, maybe they want to, get into that graduate program. That's even better. But I'm awestruck by that, the power of decision and people's belief systems and what inspires them to make the decisions that they do. Older students rock because, most of your older students are what? They've got full lives. They're either married or they're parents or like you. They've got a lot going on. You've got a podcast.
Yeah.
You're a podcaster, for Christ's sakes. You have a job. Well,
Yeah.
It's not like you could drop everything and study, right? You got to work around all that, right? So,
although if I wanted to take a sabbatical, I could. If I wanted.
Right. Most people
I don't know
cannot.
if you guys, I don't know if you guys listen to the actual podcast with my boss. Thank you very much. And he said, as long as you're believing you're going to have this job, we love you and we want to support you. But he also said, with a lump in his throat, before we got on the podcast, my biggest wish is a cure for cerebral palsy. And that really stuck with me, and I did not prompt him to say that. My God. And so I thought about that now with this, even though there's a ton of research about cerebral palsy and not enough awareness about cerebral palsy. So with this fashion journalism degree, I'm going to even raise awareness even to a higher bar and a higher standard than I do now to eventually get enough research for cerebral palsy to eventually find a cure for cerebral palsy. Because when my boss said that to me, I'm like, yeah, now you're speaking my language, because now I am just trying to find a cure for myself, and I'm also trying to get myself dressed in the morning on a halfway decent level. So now I'm even more pressing to find a cure for cerebral palsy, and unfortunately the research that they have done is not very good. I mean, they're more focused on researching than raising awareness, and so that leaves us. No, I was in I've been in several research studies over the years, and one program, unfortunately, after they did a bunch of research on me driving to Denver every other week, thank you very much, and the program got defunct, thank you very much, and I'm hoping that the EXO doesn't get defunct, and so I'm hoping that my next research project that I'm involved in doesn't get defunct easily, but we're trying to keep that program going. But to get back to the journalism degree, all I'm doing for myself is expanding my podcast and expanding the research for cerebral palsy, because when I go knocking on Veer Wing's Twitter or Oscar de la Renta's Twitter and all of these up-and-coming fashion designers, Rachel Zoe's Twitter, they're going to say, I know they are, please email my assistant. I'm going to email their assistant the same information I email you guys of the intake form, and I'm going to listen to the podcast, and they're going to be shocked that I'm the oldest college student that already has a social media presence and all this work behind her.
That's pretty awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oscar de la Renta. Wow. That's, that's not
well,
I
don't know.
No, what? Right. I mean, why couldn't you? Contact Calvin Klein? Vera Wang and Tommy and Tom Ford and Hilfiger. Sure, why not? Absolutely.
Tommy Hilfiger actually did clothing line for the disabled.
Then he might be the first person you want to contact.
I don't know what inspired him to do that. I would love to know that. And the cool thing, he filled a need, actually. And the cool thing is, I was on the phone with a second person today, and they said the exact same thing you said. I should go into fashion designing with help, of course. So I think what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm definitely going to get my associate's degree. I'm going to potentially get my bachelor's degree, and then I'm going to be self-taught fashion designing, and then if I need the training, I'm definitely going back to the Academy of Arts and getting the training, because the Academy of Arts does not offer online classes in fashion design. I see why they don't. I see why they don't, because fashion design is a very talented skill. I mean, a lot of people who come out of the Academy of Arts, they state this in their prospective student packets, work at Dior and Chanel and Google and everything else, and Microsoft and Apple, and so this is public knowledge. So they have the resource. I mean, we're not talking about podunk school here. We're talking about one of the top fashion institutions in the country, and I'm very, very lucky that I have the finances to go, and I can pay my student loans back, and I will continue my teaching job until the horizons open up. But fashion journalism, you guys, is going to be my main thing. I've decided I'm a full-time podcaster / journalist who plays teacher on the side.
That sounds pretty awesome. Wow. So when do you start?
And I start September 6th. I start this journey September 6th. The reason why I didn't start this summer is because I wanted to get all my ducks in a row before because I took my previous college on a little too quickly, and I took my education degree on a little too quickly. I mean, I was at least almost ready to go. But because I am disabled, I have a lot more paperwork than the average college student has to go through young and old. And so I have decided to take the summer off so I'm not stressed about doing so when the typical freshman goes back to school or the typical college senior goes back to school, which will be my stepsister, and I will be starting I don't know what year I'm going to be, and I'll find that out next week because my college credits previously, they transferred over, but right now I'm in a holding pattern with that. So I've decided to take the summer off and start. They asked me yesterday, what is your plan for summer? And it's so funny because the financial advisor at the Academy of Art, who I've been dealing with, who's the nicest person on the planet, goes to me, she just asked me, are you moving here? Or are you living on campus? Or what's the deal? And so I'm like, okay, you guys, okay. Something tells me that eventually I'm going to be moving out to the most handicapped friendly city on the planet. Berkeley, I've been told, Berkeley and San Francisco, well, San Francisco not so much due to its architecture, but Berkeley, I've been told, is one of the top ranked handicapped cities. Irvine, California, which I believe comes in at number 8. Berkeley comes in at number 6. Denver, Colorado, where I'm based now, I'm actually based in Aspen, Colorado. Denver, Colorado comes in 20th. And so I'm like, yeah, I might as well pick schools that can be adapted to my lifestyle too.
You gotta move out here, right? You know that. I just don't see how you.
Yes, I do. I do know that eventually.
Yeah, it'll be such a blast. I mean, you know what?
I do know that eventually.
Actually, I would be willing once a month to come see you up in the city and record podcasts with you. I mean, I'm sure we'll do everything weekly by phone, but it would be so fun. It would be worth it, and you'll be right.
Well, yes.
Yes.
You
should do it.
Yes.
And you got to feel literally and figuratively the textures of your degree.
Yes.
And which is probably why they don't offer it online. I could see how they don't.
Yeah. Once I get my bachelor's degree, or maybe I can go in. You guys? I will ask my academic advisor that this week. Can I go in to fashion design with just an associate degree in fashion journalism? Because literally and figuratively, I've got to feel the fabrics, and I've got to see what I can do to help the disabled, and that's why I'm going back to school in my early 30s, because I want to help you guys as much as I can. I mean, I got the acceptance letter in my mailbox, and my dad goes, well, congratulations. My first words out of my mouth, well, that's great. now how can I help the disabled? And he's like, you haven't even started. You're just focused on the disabled. And that's how I've been all my life. And he knows me. And he's like, you are amazing / crazy to not even take the moment in that you've now got accepted in college. You're trying to put the cart before the horse, and I'm like, yeah, because the disabled market is so needing me, and they need you guys. They need the able bodies to help them. They also need advocates of their own species here.
You know, when you have a philanthropic spirit, you will put the cart before the horse. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just figure it out, right? I've done that many times.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It really isn't.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, no worries.
And,
no worries. Yeah,
no worries on that.
I think you're fine.
So you said again, fine. No, I'm just a little bit nuts going into a fashion journalism degree. My boss goes, gulp. Here we lose a good educator to fashion journalism. I'm like, yeah. If you watch education from the sideline, and then you see how many fashion journalists are making a peep deal as compared to like 1,000 educators are making a peep, and how education is going in the U.S. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that fiery train. I'm sorry, but I know my limits, and my limits are trying to keep me healthy. And so I would rather be on Obamacare with a fashion journalism degree than a teaching degree, because what are they going to cut first? The mathematics in school or the arts in school? You guys answer that question and then get back to me.
That's a simple one.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. Right.
So that's a simple one. And so I gave to you a simple one. So yeah, that's why I'm totally tilting my degree here, and whoever thinks I'm nuts, you don't have to join my train, but I will keep you guys updated as this progress goes along, and depending on what next week brings, I might only have to do this for two years, or maybe 1 year, depending on how many credits transfer over. So I will let you guys know what year I'm entering in at. And yes, I'm going to try and become a fashion designer with an associate's degree in fashion journalism, which means the podcast is moving to the West Coast, because there's no way in heck I can do it. Mel says yes. There's no way in the heck I can do it online unless you guys come up with a creative way. But there's no way in the heck Oscar de la Renta had they didn't even have the internet when he was starting. But there's no way in the heck that these up and coming fashion designers do. They might be doing CAD drawings via computer-generated drawings by a computer, but they're certainly not touching fabrics and draping fabrics on mannequins on the line. I know that for sure, but we'll see what happens. And so I'm going to try and become a fashion designer with just an associate's degree, and then if I need a bachelor's degree, I will let you guys know. I will let you guys know that let's say next Tuesday, because they're supposed to call me back on Friday. So I will let you guys know next Tuesday when Mel and I record of where I'm entering and what my path is going to look like. And so now,
Sounds good.
how would you like to close this? And Mel, you're going to have to remind me, or someone out there in listening land is going to have to remind me. Lynn's brain is mush right now because of her education at country day. So May is not a good time for me. So someone is going to have to remind me that I said that. And so now, how would you like to close this podcast out to any of the older-esque students? I don't care if they're 19 going to college. That's all older-esque students.
Right. You know, if you are a, quote, older, unquote, student, meaning that there's been a few years since you finished high school and you're now, pursuing a second degree or whatnot in your later years, kudos to you. You rock. Absolutely. Absolutely. Learning something new at a high level is a phenomenal devotion and a powerful decision to make. And I applaud all of you. And can't wait for you to get out here to the San Francisco area, and I think you're going to have a blast. So, that's it. That's all I've got. As an older student who went back, I can tell you it was the best decision I ever made. And anything that you do in your life, if you think about it, it's really merely a nanosecond in your journey. I don't care if you spend 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. When you're sitting there and you're 85, 90 years old and you look back, you don't think about the number of years you did it. You just think about the moments of greatness during that time, the moments that made you smile, or maybe they were painful ones. I don't know. But they're very, very small. No matter what age you are right now, think about some of the most impactful moments in your life. Don't they feel like they were just nanoseconds instead of really painful or long or glorious time? So life is short. Jump on it, learn something new, and go for it. That's it.
Life is short, and as you guys know by now, I'm going to be either documenting my journey by myself or probably documenting my journey on Butterflies of Wisdom through the interviews I do, and definitely with Mel. And so, happy Teachers Appreciation Week for those of you in the teaching field who haven't gotten gifts from your staff yet. And I got mine yesterday, and it's like, really? So, happy Teachers Appreciation Week. And always, 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 always work with your professors, or if your child is in younger grades, always, 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 always work with the child's teachers. That's the best gift you can give these teachers, no matter if they're professors at college level or they're K-12 teachers. And so we will be back, Mel and I will be back on Friday to record Wisdom of Fashion, and then we will also be recording next Tuesday. As I said, next Tuesday I will have more information for you guys on this amazing academic journey. Welcome to Mr. Toad's wild ride of fashion journalism. Let's see how this turns out, but it's all good, and I appreciate your time now, and I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Take care.